I'm Ben Bobo. For those of you who don't know me, you probably recognize me as the student who never wears professional clothing, as well as the student who has one facial expression called, "Do I have to be here right now?" I want to give a warning that the text and audio in my presentation contain censored racial slurs as well as very offensive language. So, who here doesn't like Donald Trump? So in March of 2016, Trump organized a rally here in Chicago, and hundreds responded in protest, and I organized a portion of those protesters to go inside the rally and infiltrate it. So this little Facebook post changed my entire life. It has my phone number on it. I made this post to try and coordinate with other protesters, and it ended up being posted on the page for 6 hours because when we went into the rally there was no cell service and I couldn't take it down. So Trump didn't come to the rally, it got canceled, and my Facebook post with my phone number got shared all over Trump land, and they thought I organized the entire protest as a 20-year-old college student. And then I got made into a really shitty meme. Answering phone calls and texts. I got things that were hilariously stupid, things that were completely terrifying, such as this. Obviously not reading the first part. This person told me that they were going to plant me quicker than a watermelon seed fertilized with chicken wings. No fucking idea what that means. I Googled it. It's not a thing. Just not a thing. Someone sent me hashtags of "you're a bitch" with the wrong spelling of "your." You would think that if you're going to send someone a mass hate text that you do your spell check first. Someone told me that I was in for a very short helicopter ride, which is really cool for me because I've never been on a helicopter. Is there a sound for this?
No.
There kind of needs to be. Can you go back a slide?
We need the sound.
Yeah,
You know, I just want to know that, your last name isn't perfect to you. You are a boo-boo. So, I don't know if that's boo-boo or bobo. Anyway, you need to be shot.
I imagine this is just after she made 3 monthly payments of $19.99.
Put a big crap shot for you, okay? I'll let you put some big fat dick in your swallow good and pull it out of that fucking asshole and put it in your mouth, right? That's how that goes, huh?
I'm really not sure if that's how that goes, but apparently this buddy knows a lot more than I do about what goes where, so. Unfortunately, some things weren't quite as funny. I got a picture of someone's assault rifles on Facebook Messenger, telling me that they respected their Second Amendment rights as much as they respect their First, and then proceeded to tell me that they knew where I lived, and then a warning on the next audio.
Most expensive rifle rifle because they're going to get all the free shit taken away. When my aunt just came over here and went up to the great country, they built the country with it, not to sit there and hang out fucking Mexicans, and little fucking white pieces of shit like you fucking stand up for them.
You're a fucking dumbass, dude. You know what? Come on down to the South and protest like that. I guarantee you ain't gonna make it very far. You know what? You're gonna wait. Someday you're gonna find out what the Klan's all about, boy. Alright, well now we got your address and everything. We know where you're at.
And then, 3 years prior, in 2013, my dad died unexpectedly of a heart attack. And one of the people found that out, and so they sent me this message telling me that my dad wanted to be proud of me, and that it was a good thing that he died before he saw me act like a little whiny bitch. So that was nice. So I took about 3 days to respond to texts and phone calls before I changed my number. Why? Because most of the people I was talking to weren't giving me death threats, and they weren't Klan members. They were people who were Trump supporters that had valid concerns about the direction of the country. It's easy to demonize and caricature Trump supporters as these racist simpletons. And you know, the text and audio I've shown you, I think, make it really easy to do that. But it's easy to think of them as these simple targets. It's much harder to think of them as the complex individuals that they oftentimes are. One of the things that stuck out to me was I had this conversation with this single mother who was telling me that she gave birth in the bathtub of her trailer home because she couldn't afford to go to the hospital. And I think if we group that woman in with our stereotype of Trump supporters, we really, not listen to her concerns. The most meaningful conversation I had was with someone who uses his gun to defend his daughter from her abusive boyfriend. And he asked me why I would want to take away his ability to defend his daughter. And so when I think gun control, I think school shootings, but for him, he thinks his daughter. A lot of people think of Trump supporters as politically immovable. That's just not true. I had dozens of conversations with people where I got them to support universal basic income, affirmative action, gun control, you name it. And it's because I was willing to listen to them first and then talk second, which is strange as policy students. When we don't understand, when we don't listen, we don't understand. You know, how can we as highly educated individuals at an elite university explain white privilege to a rural white man who doesn't have a high school diploma, who had his job shipped overseas, doesn't receive government assistance, and barely can put food on the table? I think we start by not thinking of all Trump supporters as racist simpletons. Look, I get it. Many of these Trump supporters are racist, homophobic, xenophobic, sexist, you name it, all of it. Trust me, I talked with them. But, as policy students who want to be effective and who don't like Trump, if we want to be effective about our policies and our actions, I think we really need to understand who and what we're fighting against, or we're going to lose. And we're going to lose every single time. So.
Responsibility is it to empathize with Trump supporters?
Sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
Whose responsibility is it to empathize with Trump supporters?
Whose responsibility?
You get some demographic answer.
I think one, it's for politicians. I think it's also for policymakers that we have to understand that the sort of racist stuff is out there, yes. But they also have other concerns, and the racist stuff is not the sole reason why they're voting for Trump. And so if we care about not having Trump in 2020, as policymakers and politicians, we have to really understand that there are other reasons. It's easy to get bogged down on just, this one character over here who said this really racist thing.
You got like horrible messages and death threats and everything. We just.
Yeah, I got a lot more than that.
I'm curious, how was this process in which, you realized you had to talk to these people and you want to listen to them,
Yeah, so.
Before or after that?
It wasn't initially my plan until. So one of the really interesting things was most everybody would start off just really angry, whatever. And I found really quickly that as long as I responded calmly and coolly and respectfully, they shut off the anger. It's easy to, again, for them, just how a lot of people demonize Trump supporters, they demonize the left. And so they viewed me as this kind of left-wing crazy that was angry and wanted to punch Trump supporters and whatever. And so when I responded calmly, I found that, oh, look, they're willing to talk to me. And I'm like, this is a great opportunity to really understand where they're coming from. And so I took it.
Like that. It's not just Trump, right? What are your thoughts on the bigger issues that are going on in the American institution of politics? This is not just a Trump, it's a little snapshot of what's been ongoing for decades. So what are your thoughts on the long-term trajectory of going on?
Again, I think these conversations are really important. For me, personally, it was transformative to really learn about sort of what affects people around the country that don't look like me, don't talk like me, don't see eye to eye on everything. So I think we all need to have those conversations, and especially people who are making policy and getting elected to office. Like if we don't understand, everything going on in our district, everything going on in our state, and the struggles that people are going through, then what's the point?